So, hello everyone. Now we will speak about chapter 13 in Tale of Two Cities, okay? So, in this chapter, Dr. Manette, Mr. Laurie, and Lucy went to Paris, and Lucy knew that Charles in Paris 3 or 4 days ago. And he at La Force prison. So Dr. Manette went to La Force to use his power as a previous prisoner at Bastille for 8 years. So he will help Charles to get out of prison and not to be sentenced to death. So Dr. Manette helps his daughter also to let her husband see her while he was in prison, okay, in somehow, and we will see how could he do this. But actually he didn't know how to speak with her, but he let her to just let him see her at the road, okay. So let's start. Open page 157, okay, if you want, and if you can read from this screen, that's okay. So first of all, I want you to pause the video and read this part. So after reading it, let's see our new words like fled, burst into, sheer terror or terror, sheer terror. So fled means to be flee or to run from something. Fled, to run from something, but this is in the past. Burst into, this is means to enter, enter the room, burst into the room, so enter the room. Cheer or sheer terror, this is great fear. This is great fear. Okay, so my first question for you in this part: what did the nobleman do when the revolution came? What did they do? We can say that when the revolution came, the nobleman who owned the house put on his servants' clothes and fled into the country, or fled the country. So they left the country and they put their money in Tellson's bank. Okay, so my other question would be here. What are you doing in Paris? Who said this? And to whom? This is Mr. Laurie, okay? And Mr. Laurie said this to Lucy, okay? And he told her this when she said to him that I knew that Charles is here in Paris, okay? So that's it about this page. Okay, open the second page. Now read the page quickly. After reading the page, let's see the new words. Ushered. Ushered here means to show someone something or to guide someone for something. Okay, ushered. And grindstone or grindstone. This is a tool or a machine that they use to sharpen the swords and to sharpen also the knives and the axes. You see what it is? This machine. They use it to sharpen their swords, as you see here in this picture. Okay, hatchets. This is kind of small axes. And frenzied here means to be uncontrolled. Frenzied men, uncontrolled men. Okay, so let's look at some questions. Who are the two that Laurie speaks about? Huh? Who are they? Here he speaks about Dr. Manette and her daughter Lucy when he said, then you two will be in danger as well. You two here, he speaks about Lucy and Dr. Manette, her father. Okay, how could Dr. Manette help Charles? Huh? How he could help Charles? We can see that he say that, in fact, they would welcome me after all my suffering in the Bastille, that suffering will give them the power to help Charles. Or to give me the power to help Charles. Okay, so he will use his power. He will say that I am Dr. Manette Evermond who went to this Bastille prison, and I suffered there for 18 years. So they will help him afterwards because they know that he one of their supporters. So how could he be one of their supporters and be the father-in-law for this Charles who is very bad for them? So they will know that Charles isn't bad like they think. Okay, so the second question here, or the third question, what did Mr. Laurie say to the doctor after Lucy left them? What did he say to him after Lucy left? He spoke with him about what is they are saying in this place, like in the country yard, or in the courtyard. Beyond was a huge grindstone, being turned by two savage-looking men, fighting to get close to sharpen their hatchets, knives, and swords. Were 50 or 40 frenzied men. So he spoke with him about what can they see in the courtyard, whose blood and sweat mixed with the spark from the stone. So he speak now about these people, and he just described for him what can they see. Okay, so that's it for this page. Let's move to another page. Read it again. Read also this page quickly, and continue afterwards. So now let's see the new words together. Savages. Savages here means to be like a wild man, or to be a monster. Okay, savage means like a monster, or someone who is very bad or wild. Spare means here to lose or waste. Okay, gleaming, to be bright, to brighting, or to her eyes or his eyes gleaming, so they are bright, they are shining. Streaming, to be like flow or pour. Okay, or you can say that his white hair streaming means to move in the wind. Okay, to move. Kin, it's kind of relative, like cousin, brother, sister, like this, relative. Okay, mob surged. Mob here, this is the people who are making the revolution, and surged here to move suddenly. Yes, that's it for the new words. So now let's look at the questions. So, what did Laurie ask the doctor to do and why? He asked him to do what? They are going to murder the prisoners at La Force. If you really have the power you think, then go out among those savages, then tell them who you are and seek help for Charles. There is no time to spare. There is no time for what to spare. Okay, what did Dr. Manette and Laurie do? What did Dr. Manette and Laurie do? Suddenly, a roar went up from the crowd. Long live the Bastille prisoner! Long live his kin! Save Evermond from the force. So now we know that Dr. Manette spoke with those people and told them about what happens to Charles and how he was kind to him and how he is very good. He's not like his relatives who are supporting the king of France and all of this. So here he just spoke with them. So they want to save Evermond. Evermond here, you know that Charles is called Charles Evermond. So this is the name of his family. Okay, of Charles' family. Okay. All right. Okay, that's it for this page. And actually, if you have any kind of question, you can ask me on WhatsApp. Okay. All right. So now read this part. And let's look at the new word. Okay, dragged on. Dragged on means to take someone to some place or to a place. Eagerly here means to used to emphasize a strong desire to do or to have something. Like, I eagerly want to play basketball, for example. So I want to play it very much. So eagerly, to have a big desire for something. Okay, so here, who came to Laurie's office? Who came to Laurie's office? Can you tell me? We can see that Ernest Davidge, who came to Laurie's office. Okay, why did he go there, and why did he go there for him? He wanted to hand him a note from Dr. Manette, and it was dated only an hour before, and read here means say. Okay, this written letter said, Charles is safe, but I cannot leave this place yet. The bearer of this message also has a note from Charles to his wife. So we know here that that Daffridge also have a note from Charles to Lucy. Okay, and he also can here ask you. He will write here this for you in the test, for example, and will say to you who wrote this and why and where and who handed it. He can ask you some questions about this part and what happened. So he wrote this for Laurie, for example. Okay, so let's complete. Let's move to another page. Read this page quickly again. And I can see that we have only one word that is new. I think it's new for you. Like here, it's glare. To glare means to glare at someone, to stare at them in an angry way. Okay, like glare. See her eyes here. Oh, she's very angry of them. So glare here, to stare, to look very widely, and to look for a long time at someone or something. Okay? So, my first question here for you: why did Laurie refuse her attendance? Now we are speaking about Madame Duffridge. Okay? We know from the last page that Mr. Duffridge, he told him that he wanted to take his wife with him to see Lucy, okay, and her daughter. So Mr. Laurie was slightly suspicious of this reasoning, but he didn't wish to delay. He didn't wish to delay for Lucy to take the letter from her husband. Okay, so that's why he didn't speak with them about this. Okay, who wrote this? I'm speaking about this part. Be brave, darling. I am well, and your father is helping me. Kiss our child for me. Who said this? This is Charles for Lucy. Okay. And how was Lucy at this time? Lucy was weeping. She was crying. Okay, and she was very afraid about her father, and very afraid about her husband too. Okay, let's move on. How long did Dr. Manette stay at La Force, and what happened at La Force, or what was happening at La Force? Actually, we can say that Dr. Manette didn't return from La Force for what? Why didn't he return from La Force for 4 days? He didn't return from this place for 4 days. Why? Because he just wanted to make sure that they will not make anything for Charles. So we can say during for 4 days, and during this time, what happened there? 1100, just let's imagine 1100 prisoners were murdered. Here means 1100 means 1100, okay, were murdered by the bloodthirsty mobs, the people who wants to kill people. During that time, also, Dr. Manette had appeared before a self-appointed people. Okay, what do you mean by self-appointed here? Those are the people who give themselves the job. They see them, when someone make a revolution, so they see that we know better, we understand better, so we can lead these people. So they take the positions of the country to do something for their country. Okay, so self-appointed people's court, which had been sentencing most prisoners to death, and told of his 18 years of suffering in Bastille. So he spoke about his suffering in Bastille, so they will know that he is with them. Okay, those members of court were not asleep and drunk, listened to him, including Ernest Duffridge, who packed up his story. The decision was made to spare the prisoner's life. Here we speak about what? About Charles. But for his own safety, so he can't leave the jail now, because they just afraid that someone will kill him outside the prison. Okay, or outside the jail. Charles would have to remain in the jail, so that's why Dr. Manette couldn't leave him. Okay, to just to make sure that he will not be dragged out and killed by the mob. Okay. Okay, that's it for this page. So, if I have here a question for you, why did Dr. Manette beg for Charles to remain in jail? Huh? Why did he ask them for this? To make sure that that Charles would not mistakenly be dragged out and killed by the mob. So he want to make sure about his safety. Okay. What made Charles remain in jail? As we said, because this is for his own safety. Charles would have to remain in a jail. Okay. And if you read this, when you read this page, you will know that we have only one new word, which is self-appointed. Self-appointed here, as we said, to give himself a position in a country. Okay, so they give them the job, themselves the job. Okay, let's move on to another page. I want you now to read this page. And our new word here is gelatin. Gelatin. What do you mean by gelatin? This is a machine that is used to behead people. This. Oh my god, this is very savage. Okay. You can see it here in this picture. Okay, so my first question here for you. Why didn't Dr. Manette bring Charles to trial? Why didn't he want to bring him to the trial? Actually, he was afraid that if he bring him to the trial, okay, if he brings him to the trial, they will kill him immediately. Like what happened to the king here. We can see the king, however, was tried and found guilty of crimes against the people. His sentence, beheading by the guillotine, that terrible instrument of death created by the revolution. Its victims were wheeled through the streets in wooden carts. Amid here means in the middle, cheering and jeering mobs, and dragged onto the platform. Yes, the guillotine provided great excitement for the bloodthirsty mobs. Would Charles its next victim? So he was afraid that maybe Charles will be their next victim. So he didn't want to give him or to bring him to the trial. But this is in the beginning. We will see we will see next that he will be that he will bring him to this trial. Okay. So my next question for you: how could Dr. Manette let Charles see Lucy? How could he let them see each other? But actually, Lucy couldn't see her husband, but Dr. Manette let her husband see her. So Dr. Manette told Lucy that if she stood at a certain place in the road across from La Force at 3 every afternoon, he can arrange to have Charles at an upper window from which he could see her. Okay, so from that time on, Lucy went to there every day in all weather. So every day she went to this place, okay, often with her daughter, and sometimes she went there alone. She couldn't see Charles, but yet she could it would have been very dangerous to wave at him, so she couldn't wave also at him. But she hoped he saw her, okay? And on that same street, there were a person like what you see here. This is a woodcutter. This woodcutter asked Lucy, "Who are you? Why are you here?" And this kind of questions. And they used to hear these words like citizeness and citizen. Like he said to her, "Good afternoon, citizeness." And she said, "Good afternoon, citizen." But why did they use this kind of words? Do you know? Huh? They used this kind of words which ordered by the revolution. So here in the revolution, they didn't speak with words like the kings and queens and the people who are just working for the king and queen. No, now we have citizenship. So you are citizenness and I am citizen, for example, and so on. So, because this conversation was repeated every day, with Lucy becoming more and more frightened at the sight of the revolution's new instrument of this, because this is the woodcutter. He helped a lot in the death of many people. Okay, so she was very afraid of him because he asked her, "You walk here often?" Look here. Here he said, "You walk here often, citizeness, but that's none of your business. My business is sawing wood to build guillotines." Okay, so here he just told her that it's not my business to just see why are you here, but my business is to bring wood, so they use it to make guillotines, so they can kill more people. Okay, so we can see that this person is one of the bloodthirsty, okay, mob. And that's it for this chapter. Study it, and I want you to answer the questions and send it to me, okay?